afternoon and welcome to this exclusive interview. Today we have with us a very special guest, the Minister Yassin Mahdi Walid, who serves as the Minister of Startups, Micro Enterprises and Knowledge Economy in Algeria. The Minister has been instrumental in shaping policies and initiatives to help the growth of startups. And this interview will be diving deep into the current state of Algeria's startup ecosystem, the challenges, opportunities and strategies yet to be implemented. Welcome. Thank you for accepting our invitation tonight.
Thank you for the opportunity and welcome to the Ministry.
It's a first, isn't it? Your first interview conducted entirely in English for the Algerian television.
Yeah, it's actually not my first interview in English, but it's my first interview for the Algerian television.
Here you'll be addressing a large audience. It's the international audience. It's not just about the language.
Yeah, so congratulations for the opportunity. I think that we should definitely switch to English in most of our communication.
Indeed. Since the creation of the ministry at least 4 years ago, many initiatives have been implemented, just like the Algerian Startup Fund. What's the exact impact of this fund?
So the creation of the Algerian Startup Fund was the response of the government to the lack of access to capital for startups, especially for early stage startups. So the creation of this fund was a project that the President of the Republic initiated back in 2020, and the goal was to make it possible for the Algerian startups to access to capital. The fund invested currently almost 2 billion dinars in local startups, with investments ranging from 5 million dinars to 150 million dinars per startup.
Yeah.
The fund itself is a venture capital fund with 6 shareholders, which are the national public funds. And besides, the investments that the fund is doing directly into the startups, the fund also manages what we call the Wilaya investment funds, totalizing about 58 billion dinars. Yeah. Currently, the total amount of funding that the fund is capable of are about more than $400 million.
And with this amount, any success stories you can mention for us?
Most of the startups that we have invested in the last 3 years are mostly early stage startups, but we are starting to witness some very interesting growth in some of them. Some startups are even starting to export their services, and some of them are also in some very disruptive technologies like the spatial industry, like the artificial intelligence, and the agri-tech sector. So I can give you a lot of examples of startups, but I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that this fund has been created to create success stories so that the private sector would follow and invest more into startups, because we are currently in a situation where most of the funding that the startups are raising comes from the public sector.
Yeah, we will talk about the fund in just right after this. But actually the governmental strategy or vision is to diversify economy and reduce dependency on hydrocarbons. And I think that your ministry can contribute in this significantly. What are the targets set for this purpose?
So basically, I think the most important thing that the government is working on is to move from a resource-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. Our economy has been for a long period of time highly dependent on hydrocarbons and natural resources exports. And today, the goal is to shift toward a knowledge-based economy, an economy that is able to create more added value, that is also investing more in research and development, an economy that connects the university to the industry, and an economy that also helps talented people to succeed. So what the ministry is doing now is at the crossroads of all the strategies aimed at diversifying the economy by investing more in the human capital and in innovation. One of our key objectives is, of course, the creation of a startup ecosystem that is more suitable and more favorable for development, but also to build bridges between the university, between the academia and the industry, because we believe that now Algerian University do produce a lot of innovations. Measures of success should also include to what extent this university, the Algerian University, can contribute to the industry.
Right.
And we are, for example, giving a lot of incentives for companies doing research and development.
Yes.
Recently, we launched a very
we'll actually reach that, and we will tackle the cooperation between the two ministries. But right after this, we will move quickly to a topic where concerns in the sector, emerging in the sector, are tackled. Let's watch this topic of Rafiq Habidash.
As a new business concept, startup is focused on developing a business idea, asset or service and bringing it to market. Today, this new concept is considered to be one of the most important factors in the development of a country's economy. And this is why Algeria has given serious attention to this new startup concept with a view to develop its own economy. Starting with the creation of the Ministry of Knowledge, Economy and Startups, a strong and direct way of involving young graduates in the task of building and shaping the new Algeria.
Since the ministry has been set up in Algeria, we did have, for positive side, a legal framework for Algerian startup. So we do have legal statute. Also, we increased the visibility of Algerian startup in Algerian ecosystem.
First of all, I don't think we would have created an incubator if this ministry had not been established. The existence of the ministry itself proved that the state wanted to start a significant initiative to build a real startup ecosystem based on strong laws, creative talents, innovative minds, and trust among all the ecosystem members. Of course, there's still a lot of work to do, and this is where we, as incubators, need to work closely with the ministry and with each other to unite our efforts and make the ecosystem grow faster.
And since then, Algeria has witnessed the creation of no less than 6,000 startups, which successfully contributed to generate hundreds of jobs across the country. Yet their contribution to the country's development remains behind what they can provide actually, and this is due to some constraints that startups are facing nowadays.
We cannot reply to the calls, tenders, because we don't match the requirement, such as 5 years minimum experience, and startup cannot be a startup if it exists like more than 3 years, which is not like logic for us. Even if the government is doing like really pushing the companies, private or even the public one, to collaborate with the startup.
Startups need more funding and local innovation centers to help develop and test new ideas. They should support each other and work together for everyone's success. Instead of focusing on a few startups, we should aim to make Algeria a strong startup nation. We compare that to like the US startups community. Also, we can think about educational programs on go-to-market strategy. A lot of startups are having problems with their go-to-market strategy, and it should be a priority. More business challenge-based programs should be created instead of traditional problem solution hackathons.
To do more awareness, like to do open days between like startup and public, private companies, so they can meet the start, like how can I say, the founders and managers. They can debate, and they can maybe open open the new page, I can say, so we can start collaborating together. We are not here like just to exist or make money, but we are here also to work and build the future ecosystem of Algeria.
More awareness-raising days and more training on marketing strategy and the use of technology, cause to which the Minister of Startups has already anticipated several programs along these lines.
To answer some of these concerns mentioned earlier, there are actually some key players in this sector, like accelerators, incubators, venture capital funds, and the government policies as well. And we will certainly talk about this later on. But young entrepreneurs face some hurdles, like the financing and the following up. So is it actually an issue of funding or monitoring, or maybe both?
Both, actually. An ecosystem is made of many components, and we, since the creation of the ministry, our goal was to implement new public policies aimed at improving each one of these components. So access to market is something important. We want to create more opportunities for startups, and that's why we, for example, there was a question about access to public procurement. We recently modified the public procurement law to make it possible for startups to directly access to procurement without going through the regular,
this to facilitate the process?
Yeah, so the goal is that a larger part of the public expenses or expenditures go to innovation and technology.
Yes.
We are also helping startups to also get opportunities with the big companies, and to do so, we also introduced a regulatory framework for open innovation that is currently helping startups to do contracts with big corporations, and the companies can also get tax incentives based on their investments that are done in open innovation. Yeah. We are also creating some opportunities for those startups in some specific areas or sectors, like energy, like agriculture, by organizing support programs. And regarding support programs, as you know, today we have at the ministry more than 100 incubator that is labeled. That means that they satisfy the requirement of our ministry in terms of support, and those incubators are across all the country. They are providing support and training for startups. We also launched our own startup accelerator called Algeria Venture.
Algeria Venture, yeah.
That is supporting startups, helping them to access to market, organizing their participation in the largest technology events in the world, and also helping them to reach investors.
We come back now to the point you tackled earlier, which is the new initiative that we've heard of, launching the R&D and the Open Innovation Platform, as well as the Kickstart program. And apparently it will have an initial phase of supporting 220 project holders. To what extent is this initiative important?
So regarding the research and development platform, the goal is, of course, to increase the total expenses that the Algerian companies are doing currently in research and development. Currently, research and development expenditures represents about 0.1% of the national GDP, compared to some countries, European countries, or countries that are known for investing a lot in research and development. This percentage goes from 3 to 4%. So one of our goals is to reach 3% by 2030. And to do that, we are giving a lot of incentives, mainly tax incentives, for companies that can now benefit from tax credits that can go up to $1 million. So it's about 200 million dinars of tax credits for all the expenses in research and development or open innovation. And to make this process easier for these companies, now they can even get these tax credits by simply registering themselves on a portal called innovation.gov.dz. So that's the website we launched a few days ago. Regarding the Kickstart program, it's a program aimed at helping innovative project holders to start their businesses. Because what we noticed is that sometimes they don't need only capital to start their ventures. They also need prototyping. They have some expenses in IP. They have to sometimes to pay, registration fees or incubation fees. So this program is very interesting because we are helping incubators to benefit from funding, and also we are connecting innovative project holders from the university with those incubators.
Yes.
For the first stage of this program, we will be choosing 22 incubators, and each incubator will be supporting 10 startups.
The initial phase will be choosing 22?
Yeah,
Okay.
22 incubators,
Yeah.
and each incubator will choose 10 project holders.
All
That
right.
means 220
220 project holders.
Yeah.
All right.
And of course, it's only the first phase. So
Initial
each
one,
phase is a 6-month phase, and then we will do it for other project holders. Because now we really want to trigger the entrepreneurial spirit inside the university. We have a lot of students that are working on some very interesting projects. Not
Yes.
all of them will end up creating their startups.
Yes.
So with this program, we want to support a maximum number of the students.
Exactly. Actually, your ministry and the Ministry of Higher Education have known like a significant pace of cooperation to involve students. What are the expectations of such involvement?
We are working closely with the Higher Education Ministry because we believe that we have to work more on the entrepreneurial spirit inside the university. We have to encourage a maximum number of students to create their ventures by the time they graduate from the university.
Yes.
And of course, as I said at the beginning of this interview, we want innovators to be the new era of entrepreneurship in Algeria. So with the Higher Education Ministry, we started a very ambitious program to increase the number of students that end up creating their companies. We have incubators inside all the universities. We have also what we call the Entrepreneurship Development Centers, which are also inside all the universities. We are providing support for the startups. They can also get the label. Many of them are also funded by the Algerian Startup Fund.
Yeah.
We are creating prototyping centers across all the regions of the country to help them to easily, do their proof of concepts. We are providing training for them. We are taking in charge all the expenses related to IP, to intellectual property, for all the students. And we have been really successful at implementing this because we managed to double the number of IP registration last year from the university. And as I said, even the KPIs, the key performance indicators inside the university changed a lot since the last 2 years. Because we are not only in academia-related KPIs, we are also in industry-related KPIs.
Right.
In the university, we don't have only startups and incubators, we also have spin-offs. So universities are also able to create spin-offs that of course, the goal is to create, an easy way for researchers to easily start their businesses, and also to have an impact on the industry. And we are even making it possible for people inside the university, for researchers and teachers to also have startups while they are still in the university.
Yes,
because
they don't have to graduate to have a startup. They can even start before that.
Yeah. So that's some of the things we are doing with the Higher Education Ministry, which is, of course, the most important partner we have.
Yeah, of course, always with students' concerns. And after the changes that have occurred replacing ONSAGE with NASDA, this same agency has launched a promising initiative for students to support their projects, but students who have been trained at the development centers. Is this like a way to encourage them to lean towards these development centers?
Yeah, so our ministry is not in charge only of startups, so we are in charge also of micro enterprises. So what matters for us is that more people create companies in Algeria.
Yes.
Currently, we have about 4 company formation for 10,000 capita per year, which is about the half of the worldwide average. So one of our goals is to rise this number, and we want more people to create their companies. But what we noticed in the past during the different public policies that has been implemented. Then, you know, all Algerians know ANSEJ and other agencies that unfortunately haven't been successful at, you know, creating real enterprises and impacting the economy.
But a new system has been launched.
Yeah.
Now.
So what we understood is that the success of those policies doesn't depend on the amount of money you put on the table, but on the support you can give to real entrepreneurs. So we have to choose.
Not every project will be funded.
So we have to invest in real entrepreneurs, and we have to support them.
Real ideas, real projects.
Yeah. And also we have to make sure that at the end of the day, these entrepreneurs have the skills to manage their companies and to succeed. In the US, for example, a study of the Small Business Administration revealed that when entrepreneurs are trained before the funding, it increases the chances of success
by increasing
by 5 times.
Entrepreneurship spirit.
Yeah. So by training them before giving them the investment and also by supporting them and helping them to better understand the market, the business model, the business, and also to help them to also have some entrepreneurial skills. We are also making sure that these entrepreneurs, these future entrepreneurs, will be successful after getting the investment.
Yes,
so that's mainly the role of these the entrepreneurship development centers.
And we have to mention actually also the 2024 Finance Act. It allows startups to benefit from significant tax reductions, and there is also the customs facilitations. What can a labeled startup benefit from? I mean, what are the other advantages that a labeled startup can benefit from despite these?
So basically, startups in Algeria are completely exempted from taxes. So they almost don't pay any taxes.
0.5%.
Yeah, actually, the self-entrepreneurs pay 0.5, but startups don't pay anything. So they are exempted from from what you call the EBS, which is the tax on business revenues. They are also exempted from VAT for the acquisition of equipment. They are also they have a 5% of tariffs on the import of equipment.
Goods, yeah.
They can also get a lot of other tax incentives. So we are one of the few countries that at this level of generosity with startups when it comes to taxation. Of course, the labeled startups don't only get access to tax facilitation, but they are also they get also access to funding. What I like to say to the startups that when they get the label, they appear on our radar, so we can help them to participate in some nationwide programs. We are also matching them with some big state-owned companies. We are helping them participate in, as I said, in some technology events in Algeria and abroad. So those are basically all the benefits they can get from getting the label. And the most important thing is that the label can be requested online. So we have a portal called startup.dz, and all the requests can be done online without moving from home.
Practically every innovation initiative has like a platform so that it can facilitate for them the procedures.
Actually, because we are a newly created ministry, so we started everything paperless. So it's completely all the administrative procedures of our ministry can be done online. From the startup label to self-entrepreneur to asking to requesting funding from Algerian Startup Fund, everything can be done.
What about the National Agency for Self-Entrepreneurs platform that witnessed the registration of more than 42,000 users and more than 10,000 self-entrepreneurs cards have been handed? What are these cards designed for actually? What is the importance of these self-entrepreneurs cards?
Yeah, so we exceeded 14,000 last week, so things are moving very quickly. if we take in consideration the fact that we only launched this agency like 6 months ago.
It's recent, yeah.
It's very recent. The self-entrepreneurship initiative is very important because it's an easy way to start a venture, to start a business. It only takes a few minutes. It can be done online. In Algeria today, it's possible to start a business without moving from home, without providing any piece of paper. And
no time, no effort.
It takes only 5 minutes. And the important thing to know is that when you register yourself at the self-entrepreneurship agency online, you are also automatically registered to the tax services. So you get your ID, your tax ID, and you are also automatically registered to the social insurance. So you also get what you call the number of the social security number.
Yes.
And we also do the KYC. So we confirm your identity without you to show any proof. So that's I think something very important.
It is.
We are also giving to this self-entrepreneur a very interesting, tax system, because they only pay 0.5% of tax, and they also get some interesting facilities with this social insurance. For now, the National Self-Entrepreneurship Agency has more than 1,400 activities, mostly service activities, and 99.28% of people registered at the self-entrepreneurship agency are registered at the social insurance for the first time. So it's also a way for us to reduce the size of the informal economy and to help more people to formalize their activities.
Talking about helping people, recent program initiated by the Algerian government and under the auspices of the Presidency of the Republic, overseen by the Ministry, have been recently introduced during the Algiers International Fair, and which is the Algeria Startup Learning Expedition. What is this program actually, and what is the aim behind such projects? Because 450 startups will get to visit the 3 tech giants, which are South Korea and the United States and China.
Yeah, indeed. So this program has been announced by the President of the Republic. The goal is to help startups to be more visible at the international level and to internationalize their activities. They will have this very important opportunity and good opportunity to discover a sophisticated startup ecosystem, meet with potential investors, partners, tech giants in 3 countries that are known for being very dynamic tech and startup ecosystem.
The number itself is actually significant. How can you manage such number?
So we will be sending 150 startups to each country, and we have batches of 30 startups. So we have 5 groups of 30 startups for each country, and the first groups first group for each country will be leaving Algeria to this destination in few days in August. So we have a very intense program for them. We worked a lot with the embassies of these 3 countries to really have a positive impact on their career and on the entrepreneurial journey, because we don't want it only to be visits, but something that can really change their life and the way they look at their businesses and their startups. And we started the registration few weeks ago. Yeah,
the registration process started, and there is after that the selection one. On what basis the participants will be chosen?
So basically, they have to be labeled first. So it's like the first criteria.
Yes.
And we also have other criteria that are basically the growth of the company, the innovation aspect of the company, the technology, the jobs that have been created, the international expense or the international, ambitions of those startups, as well as the areas of the activities. So we also have a committee that is the scientific committee of Algeria Venture that will be, noting all the startups,
Yes.
and in a very transparent way, because everything is done on an online platform, and
Yes.
and of course this is a first experience, and we really hope that
It will be a success.
yeah, we hope that
Yes.
it will be helpful
All
for the
right.
startups.
Before we conclude, is there anything else you'd like to add?
So thank you for the opportunity. I mean,
thank you. It was a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for us to share details about what we are doing, especially that we know that many of our fellow citizens abroad, Algerian,
Yes.
also watch this
Of
news show, and today I'm very happy to say that 10% of the labeled startups currently are from people coming from abroad. So they
Yes.
basically are trying to...
Our community abroad is also participating in this approach.
So we are trying to reverse brain drain, what we
Yes.
call brain gain.
Yeah.
And it's through this kind of interviews that we can also maybe reach other Algerians that are also curious to know all what we are doing currently in the Algerian startup ecosystem.
All right, thank you. We come to an end to our exclusive interview. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. That was it for me. I'll see you another day with another interview. Bye-bye for now.